Well, hello, everybody, and a warm welcome to our webinar. As usual, I can see that you are joining us from different parts of the world, and that is just great. And I appreciate a lot that you are here with us today. For those who don't know me, my name is Theo. I'm an EdTech and learning design specialist with more than 13 years of experience in the learning and development field. I have worked with very different organizations, each of them with their own structure and processes, but all with a very important thing in common, and that is investment in learning. So I was able to support their efforts in creating engaging and personalized learning experiences for their learners to develop their skills in an efficient and effective way. Now, for this webinar, we have prepared a lot of new and interesting updates that we want to share with you. So in the next hour, we are set out to explore 4 learning management scenarios organizations are facing nowadays. And I'm going to show in Matrix the implementation of their solutions and also show how the learner experience improves along the way. We are going to have 10 to 15 minutes at the end for answering your questions. So make sure that you write them in the Q&A section of Zoom as soon as they pop into your mind. And we will have a reward for you at the end. So make sure that you post the best questions for us. But first, let's have a quick poll, as I would really appreciate for you to let us know what is the top skills development challenge of your organization. Is it maybe increasing the return on investment of learning programs or personalizing the training, getting out of that one-size-fits-all bubble, or dealing with multi-generational learners, considering the fact that most businesses today include 4 different generations working side by side, or maybe embedding learning at the moment of need, so following the new trend with just-in-time training, or maybe finding ways to engage your learners better. So which one is the top one for you? I am going to let you answer for a few more seconds before showing the results. I can see everybody answering. Thank you for your participation. I do appreciate it a lot. So now at the end of the poll, I'm going to share the results. So it seems that the majority of you is actually dealing with the multi-generational learners and also finding ways to engage your learners better. But at the same time, you do have issues with personalization and embedding learning at a moment of need. And I can see that almost each of the options have received some of your votes. Thank you for participating in this poll. And that is really interesting to find. And I do know that by working with a lot of client organizations, every company has its own context and approaches. And you do know that there is that saying that businesses don't have a choice of whether to do or not to do learning. Their choice is how well they do it. So finding solutions to your L&D challenges is always a priority, and any change that you implement to improve any of the challenges will be a great step forward. So I really hope that today you will be able to find some solutions to implement yourselves for the challenges that you just expressed. And again, thank you for contributing to the poll. We will have more questions to you by the end of the webinar, so stay tuned. And I do hope that you will enjoy this gamified element in our session today. So great, let's get started with the first of the 4 scenarios. And this is actually one that a lot of our clients have asked us, our Europe EdTech team, and it goes like this. We need a very efficient and automatic way to add employees to the right groups and enroll them into the courses after their accounts are created in the platform. So how are we able to do that? A very fast answer would be that, yes, this is possible. We do have the feature of rules that would allow you to automatically enroll different types of users into the courses and add them into certain groups. And for that, you have to use some filters. And the filter that I chose to show today is the job titles. Why I like this one that much is because it opens up so many new opportunities. So in order to show the solutions, let me share the MATRIX platform in which I'm going to show how all the configurations go. So if you can give me a heads up that everything is okay and you're able to see my screen now with my MATRIX platform. Great. So as you can see, I'm using my MATRIX platform. This is the one that we have for training and demos in AdTech Europe, and I'm using it in dark mode. So if you want to do it yourself, if you want to use it like this, I do believe it's really easy on the eyes if you're using it a lot. You can do it from the upper top right of the screen where you have your profile. You will find the drop-down menu. And if you click it, the first option that you have here is actually the dark mode. And you can just toggle it in order to enable or disable the dark mode for your platform. Now, let's get back to the solution for the first case that we were talking about, the idea of automatically adding users into groups and automatically enroll them when their accounts are created. I told you that we are going to use the filter of job titles. The first step to do it is go to Admin, App Center, and make sure that the job titles feature is installed for our platform. Now, while we're here, I just want to show you an update that we have with the App Center, and that is the reorganization of how all the apps are appearing here inside of the App Center. So you can see that we do have some categories. For example, advanced learning assessment is another category, and they are ordered alphabetically. So you do have the possibility to find the apps that you want to install in order to extend the functionality of the platform in a more organized way. We also can use from the right side of the screen, this search bar, and here we can find all of the categories, and I can go directly and select the ones that I actually want. So I will have a shorter list of apps to choose from. And I can always select by phrase. So I really do like to go in with the easy typing of the type of app that I'm searching for. So I'm going to get directly to the right answer. And for me, it's going to be right now the job titles. So in order to make use of this feature, I'm going to have to install it. And you can see here in the tab that we have, that I have two buttons, the possibility to go to help. So it's going to open up a very detailed guide on how to use this feature. And the other button is the install uninstall one. After I'm going to install the job roles feature, I'm going to find it in the main navigation menu under users area. So under users, job titles is already here. When I'm clicking it, I'm going to see if I already have created it, a list of all of the job roles that I have mapped in my organization. And you can see, for example, I do have an account executive, project manager, sales manager, trainer roles, and so on. And you can add them one by one, or if you have a really large matrix of job titles in your company, you can always import it with the CSV. So you can have all of them added in just a couple of minutes inside of our platform. Just with the title of example, I'm going to add a new job title here. In the upper top right of the screen, I have the add button. And I'm going to create one that I don't have at the moment. Let's make it an L&D manager job role. And I can add here a description. And let's make the description that I have for this one, that this is actually the responsible for the training and professional development in my company. I'm going to save it. And when this new job role is created, it's going to take me directly to its page. Here I can edit it, so I can change the details that I just introduced. And here, a very special step that I always like to take is to change the photo. So here inside of the photo, top right, I have the settings button. And from here, I'm able to very easily change the picture. I always like to use these avatar pictures. I think that they are really fitting for the job roles. I'm going to save it. And now when I go back to my job titles, I can see that the L&D manager with the new photo is already here. Here in this view, I can also see, for example, that the project manager has 6 users. And as soon as I will have users associated with the job titles, they will appear here, a list of all the users that have this role in my organization. Now, this was just the first step, making sure that we do have job titles added and that users are associated with them. But next, in order to make sure that my work will be very efficient and that I will be able to add these users automatically into groups when their accounts are created and enroll them into the right courses, I have to go to Admin, Accounts, and here I'm going to find the Rules tab. So from Rules, the logic is the following. After an account is added, so under Added Actions, I'm going to be able to set up some actions that will get triggered. And in order to add those, I'm going to simply click the Add button and choose the type of actions that I want from here. In our example, these are going to be found under Membership, because here I do have the enrolling in courses and adding to groups. So for adding in groups, I'm going to take this as the first example. When I'm clicking it, this pop-up appears, and you're going to get very familiar with this pop-up, but it's pretty simple to use. First of all, select the group in which you want your users to be added. Let's make it, for me, the instructional designers one. Submit. Now I can select the type of message that I can have here. It can be a canned one already created by the system, a custom one in which I can use all of these variables to create my message, or I can select that it's going to be no message at all if I don't want my users to be overwhelmed with all of these pop-ups that they will receive in the notifications area. What's the important thing to figure out here is the filters that I'm going to use. And I'm going to go in the second part of the pop-up, which is filters. And in the right side of it, I have the Add button. Now, for example, I have already added the L&D manager role. So I do want all of the users that are L&D managers and that have an account created in the platform will get automatically added in an instructional design group. It's pretty fitting for them, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to use the filter that I just created of a job title. So if the job title is in, where do we have it? L&D manager, or I can even select the rest of them and build them together, these filters. The job title is in trainer or in EdTech specialist, right? All of them seem fit to be included into an instructional designers group. I'm going to save it. So it will appear here in the list. So all of my users that do have these job titles will get automatically added into this group. And I have to do this only once, set up every rule, and then my work is going to be done. Everything will work much more efficiently for me. Let's take the second example as well, the one with enrolling in courses. And the principle is the same. I'm adding an action. The action will be now enrolling in courses. The pop-up, I told you you're going to be familiar with it. It kind of looks the same, but now I don't select the group, but I do get to select the courses. Let's please use here a management course. Again, I can select the type of message that I want, and then I'm going to go and set up my filters. Now for a management course, I can select a different filter. The one that I want to add now, also based on the job titles, will be that the users that actually have a leadership position in my organization will get added into this course. So here I can choose from the job titles, the sales manager, and also I can choose the project manager and the L&D managers as well. Again, save, and all of these rules get added here in this list, and you can have this list as long as you want. The only idea is to make sure that you are mapping everything in the right way for your organization. Now, a very right way to use the job titles is now even better, because we do have an update regarding the job titles, and that is the idea that now you can get this information in report as well. So job titles are available in reports. This is something that a lot of clients have asked from us, and it is now possible. And just to show you a very simple example of a report that has job titles included, I'm just going to go to my left navigation bar under reports catalog. I do have a report I already created. It is called Enrolled based on job titles. I'm going to run it automatically and set up here all of the details that I want. Let's make it for the management course, all the themes, and let's make it for the main organization. I'm going to run it as an HTML, so we see here the result directly into our platform immediately. So when I get to run my reports, I get a notification and the link to my report. So here you can see that for my management course, I do have 11 learners in total, and I can see their job titles, I can see the progress, I can see the time that they spend each of them inside of the course and when they last visited. So I do believe that this is pretty important information for all of you learning and development managers out there, to make sure that your courses are actually taken by your users and that they are making progress in building their skills. So this was actually the solution that we have prepared for the first of the use cases. So let me just take you back and do a very short summary for the first case that we have. So the solution was based on the idea of adding job titles to the profiles of your users. You can see that job titles are really useful to use as filters, because first of all, it matches the matrix that you already have created in your organization. And it is now easier to use because you can get reports based on it. And then you set up automatic enrollment into courses, and also automatic adding into groups based on those job titles filters. And as a bonus, we have already seen that the new App Center has a new structure, thanks to our developers, to make it easier for us to use all of the apps that we want to extend the functionality. So thank you for following up until now, and let's go to the second use case. So the second use case is actually related to the fact that a lot of clients want to have a way to collect feedback from the learners, and this would not be related to a certain training. Again, we do have a pretty easy and fast answer for this one. You already know, if you have been using the platform for quite a while, that we do have the surveys which are available as a type of assessment into our courses. But now we do have the possibility for you to have surveys outside of courses. And let me go back to the platform and show you how this looks like. Again, I have to go under Admin, App Center, and find that survey app that I have to install, and it's going to be called Site-Wide Survey. You are going to be able to find it under Assessment category. After installing it, this will actually appear onto the main navigation bar. So now you can see that Surveys app appears here. So let's add a short survey. Let's make this one called Learners Feedback. I can add a description. And I can select if I want the responses to be anonymous or not. And upon saving, I do have the possibility to add questions inside of my survey. Now, when I'm going to click Add Questions, this pop-up is going to appear. Now, like I said before, if you have been using the surveys for a while, you know that we already have them in courses, and they contained these 4 types of questions: the multiple choice, free form, account field, and being able to draw questions from a library. But now we actually do have 2 new types of questions inside of surveys, which are really, really useful. They are my favorite ever. In the idea that all the responses that you're gathering from this type of questions are a lot easier to interpret. So we do have now the scale one and the matrix type of question. And let's just go with an example for each to show you how they work. Now I'm going to first select the scale question. And the scale questions actually have a specific range of numerical options that learners are able to choose from. So here I get to include my question. It would be something like this: general, how satisfied were you with the overall user experience of the platform? Because how I told you it was a numerical grade, I get to select the numerical scale. Let's make it up to 10, the maximum. And then we can select the display of choices. I do like to go with the stars because it's the most visual type, which I feel the users enjoy better. I can select if the question is required of not or not. I'm going to select yes, because I do want people to respond to the surveys that I'm giving. And that was it. It's easy as that to create the scale type of questions. And now to add the second type, which is the matrix. This looks a bit more complex, but it's not really a lot more complex, because matrix surveys are basically bundled questions, and they are preferred because they are easier to write and they can make a survey appear shorter than it actually is. So it actually reduces the appearance of the individual questions, and studies have shown that the response rates improve the shorter a survey appears. So it is presented like you see it here. We have the possibility to add rows and columns, and the rows represent here a group of questions on a specific topic, while the columns are the corresponding answer options. So under question, I get the opportunity to add the main topic, which for me would be something like this: what is your opinion on these aspects of learning on the platform? And I can select if I want the style of the matrix to be a radio or a checkbox. I like the checkbox better. We are going to have an example on how I'm completing the survey, and you're going to see how well the checkbox look here. And under rows, I have the options, let's call them statements, to which they have to respond. So these are basically those bundled questions I told you about. And I'm going to include some statements. For me, it's going to be about, let's say, the interface of the course. I'm just copying them to go faster through this one. And then let's also have one regarding the expectations that the trainer have met. Now, these are the set of statements that we have in the rows, basically, like I told you, the bundled questions. And then we do have the opportunity to create the columns variants, which are the corresponding answer options. And basically, these are going to be the same for each of the statements. And here I do like to select the 5 columns type, in which I add those 5 variants that allow me to interpret the results a lot better. And this is the scale with strongly agree, option, agree, a neutral one, disagree, and also let's have strongly disagree. Great. So again, I'm going to select this question to be required, save, and return to the question bank. So easy as that, we do have our first survey that we are able to give to our learners. And this will not be related to a specific course, but it's on general aspects of using the platform, or how you're creating your courses, the offer of courses, the opportunities are so much larger when you get the opportunity to ask for a more general feedback from your learners. And also the results will be a lot better to be able to improve also the general aspects, not just things related to very specific topics of the courses. So in order to give this survey, I'm just going to go in the top right part to the give button. You get a possibility to add to its name, so you know exactly which survey was this one. And I get two types of filters here, one related to users and one related to courses. So I do have the possibility to select here the filters that I want for specific groups of users to be able to respond to it. Let's just make here a very not really used filter of name, and I'm going to just add my name in order to be the one that receives this survey to be able to complete it. I'm going to give it, and you're going to see that I'm going to receive two notifications. The first one is as an admin because this feedback has been given. And the second one is actually the one that I receive as a user, this very nice pop-up that the survey was assigned to me and I get to complete it. So I'm going to click take the survey, and now you are going to see how it looks for a user to be able to complete what we just created. So I do have the possibility in the right side to actually add comments for the administrators, for the L&D managers, if I have other thoughts beside the very specific responses inside of the survey. And I do get the take survey button. Here it is the scale with the stars. So I can simply just select the number of stars from here and click continue. And this is the matrix question. I told you that it looks so much better with bundling all of the statements that you have. So otherwise, I would just have to click a lot, continue to get through each of the questions. And it would seem a lot to me that I'm really making an effort. But here I just have everything on one screen and I get to just click the check boxes, which I told you I really like, and then continue and click finish to send the survey results for my L&D manager. Now, the survey results, you are going to be able to get analytics with them, and you are going to have a CSV file that you can export with all of the submissions from all of the users that have completed this survey. So you are able to work further with all the data that you're getting from here. So I really did hope that you liked the new options that we have for surveying. To go back from where we started, which was actually the quest from our clients. To do a quick summary for this one, like I told you, yes, short answer, it is possible to get feedback from your learners, which would not be related to a certain course with the site-wide surveys. After installing them from the App Center, you do have the possibility to add different type of questions. And we have actually created an example for the two new types of questions in survey, the scale and the matrix one. So now you do have 6 possibilities for the type of questions that you can add inside of the surveys. So we are kind of halfway through the webinar, halfway through our studies. And let's go quickly to the next one. So again, a lot of our clients have asked for a solution for the fact that they rely a lot on learning from department managers and also from subject matter experts in organizations. This is a great trend nowadays. The fact that you don't have to have only the trainers, which are the ones that are doing the teaching in your organization, but you do have very valuable people in your organization, which are managers or which are people with high skills in a certain topic. So these are actually the subject matter experts. And I do feel that a lot of organizations are doing it at the moment, and we should be doing it more. The idea of allowing them to teach their colleagues and to be able to create courses inside of the platform and have a space in which they can actually share their knowledge. And a good way to put this in practice into Matrix is actually to use the groups feature. And I cannot stress this enough. The groups are really useful in the platform, and they're actually spaces outside of the courses in which you can take advantage of your manager's experience and the subject matter experts by creating groups on very specific topics. An example that we can follow today is a group on instructional design. So the group can be very simply created in the idea that here you will offer a place in which you can add on newsfeed information about this topic. You can have different forums with topics related to instructional design. You can have the resources area in which you can have the administrator and other members of the group adding resources for their colleagues. And now you also have the possibility of different roles inside of the group. So you can actually allow the subject matter experts to have the right permissions inside of the group. So the updates with the groups that would really facilitate the idea of using them in this purpose would be these ones. Under admin features, I told you that we now do have the possibility of different roles. If you can see here, this is again an update, the way in which this is organized. We do have the tabs that you can enable, which are the start page tabs and the left tabs. Here under the left tabs, you can see that we do have the possibility to enable members, which is clear enough why we need it, right? And at the same time, we have admins, which will be always the creator of the group, but you can always give admin permissions to other members if you want. But now we also have leaders. Actually, this existed for a while, the idea of making the managers as leaders inside of those groups, so they are able to enroll the members in other courses. But now the very new update for this one is that we do have also assistants. So you have the possibility to enable assistants as well in your groups. It's going to appear here on the left navigation bar, and you get the possibility to add one or more assistants for your group, and they will have more permissions than a simple member, but less permissions than an administrator. So they will not have all of the permissions of deleting the group and things like this, but they will be able to be those subject matter experts, because they will be allowed to post and announce on the newsfeed area of the group. They will have the possibility to moderate any of the forums, and they do have the possibility to add and delete resources from the library of the group. So you can see why this assistant is actually a very important role that would facilitate, like I said, the idea of the subject matter experts in your organization having a right place and the right permissions to be the ones that are sharing information with their colleagues on specific topics. And then another thing which makes the groups so much better to use now than it was before is the idea that we do have the dashboards enabled for groups as well. So under admin features, I can now enable the dashboard as a tab of the group. And after I do this, I can actually set it as my landing page for this specific group. After I selected it over here, I can simply go to the landing page, and you can see how much better it looks already. So I can actually have here the sliders, which I can customize, and I can add very specific information that the users of the groups will see first thing when they enter the group. So it's going to be in the middle of the screen, right in their faces, so you cannot miss with any information that you are going to share there. This information on the sliders can be text, can be photos, and also I do like using a lot the idea of buttons. So I can guide members to different parts of the group areas. So for example, I can guide them through to the forums, I can guide them to the resources. So depending on what are the things that I want to put value on inside of this group. So you can see that the groups have received a really big update. They are more complex, but at the same time, it might look a bit complex from the point of view of the administrator, but it looks so much better for the users. So you're going to be able to see, if you go from the user side and see how a member sees this group, that it looks a lot better, a lot more clear, and you do have the possibility to personalize a lot more, exactly like you would for the dashboard of the entire platform, with just simply editing here the widgets. You do have to the possibility to select what the user will see, so just a member in the group, and also to personalize and customize the member dashboard and the administrator dashboards as well. So you will have all kind of data and analytics for you inside of these groups. So I do hope that you are going to take advantage a lot more from our groups feature. We do see a lot of use cases in which these are used by organization as not only for topics, but even as a place to organize each of their departments. So going back and just doing the very quick summary for this one before going to the last of the 4 use cases that we have today. We have discussed about the groups features and the updates of the dashboards that are now available, and also the new type of member inside of the group, which is the assistant. And now to go to the 4th one, and I have to admit it is my favorite, because it is about personalizing the content for your users. So the general question of our clients is, how can we ensure that each employee will have a unique experience that is going to be suitable for their current level and department? For example, our management courses are available for the new managers, but also for managers that already have some experience. And also those managers might come from different departments. So I always like a challenge of personalizing content, and I do want to show you a great way in which you can make this a reality inside of Matrix. So going back to our platform, let's go to one of our courses. So I have prepared this management course for you. And you can see here the usual structure that we have with the modules. So here you can see that I have created modules for all kinds of topics, everything that I do believe a manager should know when taking on this role, right? Setting objectives, how to communicate with their employees, about metrics, the tools that they get to use, about delegating, and so on. But maybe not all of these are useful for all of my employees, because some of my managers maybe already know how to set objectives and they're really acing it. So they don't need to go through any other information that will teach them something that they already know. Or I do have here the example of the L&D matrix. So this is actually only relevant for my employees who are in the L&D department, right? So I don't need a sales manager to go through this module. So how am I able to personalize the content inside of Matrix? First of all, we can work with the visibility of our modules. So for example, here, the module of L&D matrix, I just get to click on it. So after everything is created under it, I can go to visibility and set up some visibility filters. So this by default is going to be a shown module, but I only want to show it for the L&D managers. So I get to add a filter here. And again, we go back to the idea of the filters on job titles. So here I can select that only the L&D managers are the ones who are able to see this module inside of this course. Save it, and that's it. I can just go back to my other modules. And then for the other modules, which are pretty general, a thing that I can do is, first of all, go under each of them and again, toggle the visibility. And these ones I choose to make hidden. The logic is the following. I'm going to make everything hidden, which doesn't get to be opened by a specific filter, because this one is going to get opened based on assessments. So based on how well my learners already know these modules are going to remain hidden or get opened for them if they don't already know it. So after I have set up all of these hidden, the next step for me would be to create an assessment. Just as a simple example, I have created it as a self-assessment, just to understand the principle of it, but you can create assessments as complicated as you want. The structure is the same. Create an assessment. Please make the assessment to be a quiz, so it's automatically graded, so you don't have to have instructor intervention for it. And then set up score rules for those assessments. And based on the score rules, the content is going to get opened for the ones who don't actually know that information yet. Let me show you an example. I get the opportunity to add a new section here, which again is the quiz. This one, let's make it for the module of the Gantt chart tool. I'm going under options to keep it as simple as possible. I'm just disabling everything here just to get to the question part. Here I already have my Gantt assessment created. I'm going to the questions to add my new question. Now for this part, we have an update as well, because we do have a new way in which you can more easily add your questions. This short guide was created, so it shows you exactly what you need to do next, to click add questions or go to a question bank, or you can even import the QTI format if you already have a bank of questions in that format. So simply adding a new question, I get to go here. My type of question is going to be a true or false one. Let me just find the question that I have prepared here. So it's going to be, because I have made it, just for the sake of the example, a self-assessment one, it's going to be like this. I know how to use the Gantt chart. I have been using it to track project updates for at least 1 year. So I'm going to make this answer true as the correct one, just to be able to get a score. So saving and returning to the question bank. This is it. This is my simple example of one assessment that you can create, and based on the score of this assessment, the modules will get opened or remain closed for your learners. And in order to make sure that the system knows how to do it, I have to go under score rules. I can find it here. So in each assessment that you are creating, score rule is going to be here. I get a possibility to add a rule. And for me, because I made it really simple, the score can be either 0% if the response is false, right? Or 100% if the response is correct. So I get to select here the score that gets triggered, that triggers actually the next action. I select it as 0%, so the false. So the idea would be the same. In a self-assessment, my learner will say, no, I don't know how to use the Gantt chart. I haven't used it before. So that would yield a 0%. So that means, okay, I have to open up this module because my learner needs to learn more about the Gantt chart. He doesn't know it yet. So under this score, I add the action of showing the module. And here I select the module to be the Gantt chart. Save, and that's it. So you do get the possibility, like I told you, to create a lot more complex quizzes for your learners that would actually yield how well they know. So you don't just have to base your assessments on how well they say they know it, but actually test it. But the principle remains the same. So this is the way in which I'm going to set up my courses to make sure that it is personalized. Now, just to take it further, the next step, I'm going to very, very quickly go to admin accounts and actually add an account so you can see the learner experience with all of the configurations that we have created. So I'm going to create a learner. Let's make it Adiman's son. Maybe you know why I am a bit of a geek here. So I do get to select now the job titles that get associated with when the accounts are created. Let's make this the L&D manager because I have set up quite a few filters based on this one. Now I'm going to go under Eddie's profile and log in. So we get the learner experience as well. Now here it is. It's not so dark anymore. Here, what you can see here is actually a document that I have created as a policy. So every new account that logs in the platform has to accept it. So you can create it with internal procedures or GDPR or whatever you want. And then they get to the main dashboard. So you can see, based on the things that we have done at the beginning of the webinar, that because this is an L&D manager, they get automatically added in the instructional designers group, like I set it up before. And also they are automatically enrolled in the manager course because I have set it up before. So you can see how efficient everything is and how good the experience of the learner is getting an account, getting on a learning platform and already having the content there. So it's so much better and it will improve the engagement because you said at the beginning in the poll that you really do want more engagement from your learners. How easy it is to make sure that they do have all the information here already. So when they go inside of the courses, you remember that we had like 8 modules, right? But here they only see the modules that I allow them to see, and the rest of them are going to be opened up based on the assessment. So they do see the L&D matrix because it's the L&D manager, and they do see the final and the last, the first self-assessment and the final assessment I created for the course. And let's see how the experience goes for them. They go inside of the first assessment, they take the quiz. I am very skilled in setting objectives for my team. Let's say that this is true. I do believe I'm good at that. So I will not get any modules opened for this one because I already know it. I don't need to waste my time in getting through information that I already possess. And continuing on managerial communication, let's say that I'm not yet knowledgeable in communicating with my team. I do not have 2 years experience in management, right? I'm going to make this as false. And when clicking continue, now, because the system sees that I do not know this, I would get like a 0% score for this one. I do get that module opened up for me. So here you can see if I go at the dashboard of the course, I do have the new managerial communication module opened for me. So I get to take that as well. And just to finish up with the quiz that I have created about the Gantt, let's say that I do know this as well. Finish, and now I get the possibility to go to the next modules. They are open for me. So here I can just go through the material that the instructors have prepared for me. I do have different types of content to go through. I have videos included that I have to watch. And here I do have the L&D matrix that was shown to me based on the filters. And then I get to the last final assessment. And here I do get to take the quiz. I don't really remember the questions here. I'm going to wing it a bit. Let's see how well I'm going to be able to do here. I think actually this one's are like that. So here you can see more examples on how your quizzes can actually look like. So you have more complex scores based on which to open up your content. We do have this very exciting and beautiful HubSpot type of questions. So you are able to select here and drag and drop. And the simple type of questions, and that's it. Our learner has basically went through the entire course. So I did get some answers wrong, but I do finish the course. I get my pop-ups that I was awarded the certificate. And here, if I click, I can see my awards. Here is the certificate that I have received because I have finished my course. It's again an automatic action, so I'm getting it automatically. You just have to create this PDF with the free forms in order to make sure that the system knows how to draw the information from the platform. And an update here is that now these certificates are actually, it is possible for you to add unique numbers. So here in the top right, the number that you see, 191937, is actually a unique number that was given by the system. So you do have the possibility to add also other elements to these numbers, like I have here NO. So you do have a possibility to manage your certificates better by having a unique number for all of the users for each of the courses in which those certificates are received. So again, going back to our presentation, the solution for the last one, maybe it was a bit more complex, but please do try it. You are going to enjoy it so much, but also your learners are going to love it. The idea of having content open up for them based on what they actually know and what they actually need is the best thing that you can do in order to make sure that the experience of your learner is so much better while using the platform with online learning. So you do have the possibility to set up the visibility filters and to do these assessments with score rules. And we have seen the way that simplified quizzes look. So now it's a lot easier for you to actually build those quizzes, those assessments. And as a new thing that we have, and I wrote it here because I didn't want to forget to let you know that a great update that we have now when you are building your courses to make sure that you have more types of content that you can add. You have a limit which is up to 2 gigabytes. So it was doubled. It was 1 before, now it is 2 gigabytes. So you can add, for example, larger videos. We do have a lot of clients who have sessions with instructors over Zoom. So those videos are pretty large. And if you want to include them afterwards in your courses, now you do have the possibility to include them as well because the limit is up to 2 gigabytes. So thank you very much for being with here today and for going with us through all of these study cases. I do hope that some of them are something that are really interesting for you. I do have this idea of the learner experience is actually not something that we are tackling straight on, but with all of the other things that we are doing behind the scenes, like finding solutions exactly like we did today to very specific use cases that we have, making things more efficient for you as an instructor, but also working on having a better experience and engaging your learners really go hand in hand. So all of the things that you are going to do in order to make your work more efficient and your courses more personalized and having all of these surveys to assess what are the things that you can actually change next are going to have a large effect on how the users are seeing the platform, the courses, and how they engage with them. So further on, I do want to take your questions. I am going to check now the Q&A section. Okay. Could you show the process of adding new organizations? Yes, I am able to do that. I'm going to do it in a few seconds. Let's take them one by one. I'm going to share again to the platform. So in order to add new organization, I'm going to go back to my administrator account. We do have an update for that as well. You do have the possibility to add new organizations a lot easier. So here, if you are using organizations, and a lot of companies are using this, it can be even a structure mirroring your internal structure of departments. So let's say that now I do want to add an organization A2, which has to be right under this one. Until now, it was pretty difficult to add it and to actually put it in the right place, but now you can do it in 10 seconds. The only thing that you have to do is go to the add button. And when you are adding your organization, I said that it's going to be A2, you get to select its position versus the other organizations that you already have created. So here you get the position after organization, and I'm going to select that the organization would be A1. So upon saving, going back to the list so we can see how it looks like, the hierarchy is correct. Organization A2 was added right after organization A1. So it's going to be so much easier for you now to create this structure that you need. Great. Showing detail how the unique number can be attached to a certificate. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time to go in very much detail, but I am going to show the basic of it. The idea that when you create or edit a certificate, there is now a new optional field, which is called the number, that can have an associated PDF field with it. And that PDF field is called an award number. And just to show you in a few steps, when you are editing or creating your certificates, you are going to Resources Catalog. Here, I'm going to select that I'm going to see the certificates. So here, the certificates, going in details, actually have this number. So this is the place in which we get to include that award number variable. And also you have to make sure that the PDF that you have created and included in the platform, so this one, will actually have here a space associated with that award number variable. For more details, please let us know if you need a more detailed guide, but you can find, again, in our help center, all of the information that you want in order to make sure that you are doing your certificates with the serial numbers. Okay. Let's go back to our questions. Possible to arrange one-day in-person workshop? Yes, please contact us and we will make sure that we set up all of the details so you can have a more detailed workshop, of course. Enrolled a user by virtue of the fact that they were in a group. Okay, at the user level, can the system show which courses were assigned by rules and which were self-enrolled? Yes, you do have the possibility to gather reports, and in those reports, you would be able to see exactly which was the channel from which the learner was added inside of that course. So you can do that in the custom reports that you can draw from our platform. Great. So if you don't have any questions, I think I don't want to go over the time that we have for today. Thank you very much for being here with us today. And I do hope that you found the examples that we showed interesting and that you are curious to try them out yourselves. If you have any other question for us, maybe with a very new and specific use case that you would like to find a solution to with our help, please reach out and we'll be more than happy to help and make your learner experiences more engaging and also your work more efficient. So thank you so much for being here. I promised a surprise at the end, and we are going to have a reward of 50 euros that will be awarded for the best question today. And my colleagues have selected Stephen Barton's question as the best one for today. So thank you very much, Stephen, for your question. You are going to be contacted by our marketing team. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. And I really do hope you have a nice day. Goodbye, everyone.